we'll be reviewing WrestleMania 40 1 year later. So we're on Cage Match here today, and we're kind of going to give it a new rating. So obviously right now we're starting with WrestleMania Saturday, and right now it's at 6.81. And yeah, we're kind of going to go over it and give it our rating. But yeah, ready to get things started?
Yeah, let's do it. And we'll start things off with the first match of WrestleMania 40 night one. That is Rhea Ripley defeating Becky Lynch. And what was a really good match. We came out after, we didn't know at the moment, but Becky Lynch ended up being sick during this match, so it gets maybe a little bit extra credit, at least to some people. Yeah, it was a really good match. Maybe not quite as good as the Charlotte match, of course, but 7.41 rating. I'd probably give it maybe a little higher.
Yeah, I'd probably maybe bump it up a little bit. I think it was like a great opener to WrestleMania weekend, the first match on the main roster, obviously. But yeah, I think it was a great way to open up, and also the gears were nice as well. So yeah, I liked it. But yeah, I'd definitely probably get a little bit higher.
Yeah, I'd probably get a little closer to 8, maybe even a little over 8.
I mean, I can agree with that. But next up, we had the six-pack ladder match for both the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Now we had, this was kind of necessary because we didn't want the title split, but we had A-Town Down Under win the SmackDown, and then the Awesome Truth win the Raw ones. In hindsight, obviously, I think the decision was pretty poor because of how they would end up getting booked. A-Town Down Under were pretty bad in a way, just because they always got just cheap wins and they never felt like a real tag team. They didn't get a lot of TV time anyway. Awesome Truth kind of stunk it up for a few weeks. And yeah, we had some other teams that I would have much rather have won.
Yeah, I actually think that it was the right decision to give these teams the title, only because if you would have gave a better or more known team the title, then they would have just been sitting on the shelf the exact same way they were, except they're more known. And now they're locked in the tag division as well. So I think they gave it to these people on purpose because they can kind of shelf them and put them on screen, but not in matches. And they kind of kept the titles alive a little bit on life support. But, you know, they did keep the titles alive from the time where they won it until now.
Yeah, but yeah, for a rating, I don't think it's bad. I'd probably knock it on a little bit. I may want to give it, because this is technically better than the Rhea match. I personally, I don't know. We had some pretty big spots during this match. So maybe I would give it a little bit higher. Maybe keep it about the same, but I don't think I'd keep it this. I don't think I'd have it higher than the Rhea.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be higher for me.
But next up, we had Andrade and Rey Mysterio team up, taking on Dom and Santos Escobar. And this got a 5.53. Honestly, can't remember much from this match, so that kind of speaks volumes. But what do you think?
Yeah, not gonna, speak too much about this. It is what it is with this one. I agree.
But yeah, next up, we have Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. Obviously, this is going to be in the history books for one of the most unfortunate outcomes of a match. This match is a 2.65 with over 1,000 votes. So, yeah, obviously, everybody kind of has the same opinion that this match wasn't good.
Yeah, I do think that it's a little overstated on how bad it was. If you listen to people's reviews, you would think that, they were just in the ring just like touching each other, or it was the finger poke of death match or something. It wasn't as bad as what I think people might say it is looking back on it now, but definitely in the moment it was a drag to get through, and the worst part about it was a drag to get through at only 11 minutes. But I do agree with the rating. Definitely I agree with the rating still, but I do think it's maybe a little overstated on how bad the match actually is.
I don't know, 16 super kicks in one match is a little crazy. So yeah, if anything I might even knock this rating down a little bit more. But yeah. Next up, we had the six-woman tag match with Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Damage Control. This was pretty good. I think this wasn't Jade's debut, or maybe this was her debut. I forget.
No, she debuted at Royal Rumble.
Okay, so yeah, but I think this may have been her first real match or something like that. Maybe she had one before, but it's one of her first matches at the very bare minimum. It was a great introduction to Jade and this new team. It kind of sets up the start of the eventual storyline that we're in right now with Naomi and Jade. So, yeah, I think overall it was a good match. I probably agree with this rating. I don't think it was great either. Maybe I'd probably bump it to like maybe a 6.5 probably.
Yeah, I'd bump it up a little bit for sure. I think the Andrade match was rated out of 5.5, and I agree with that one, but I do think this one was quite a bit better, so I would put it at, roughly a 6.
And then next up was Sami Zayn and Gunther for the IC title, where Sami wins the IC title, obviously, in what was a phenomenal match, a great story, and also the beginning of the match with Sami coming out, talking to Chad Gable, then Kevin Owens. Was a real nice introduction, and then the match, like I said, was phenomenal.
Yeah, best in-ring match of WrestleMania weekend, I would say. Yeah, amazing match. I'd probably even bump it up a little bit more, closer to that 9.
Yeah, I probably agree. Maybe put it out of 9. I think it would be perfect. But yeah, and then the main event we had the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and The Rock taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And yeah, this got a 7.4 with over 1,000 ratings as well. So another highly talked about match. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, just it was a pretty good match. It was a lot of cool stuff going on with The Rock kind of directing the referee around and stuff. Obviously, Seth Rollins was kind of just the MVP of this WrestleMania weekend here. Yeah, it was a pretty good match. I think 7.4 is pretty accurate. Maybe I'd bump it maybe down a tad bit, but at the same time, I think this is perfect at the same time.
Yeah, I think I'd still have the Rhea Becky match as a match itself. It's better, but I guess with the spectacle of what it was, The Rock was wrestling again. I guess that adds a little bit more points, the aura. But yeah, I probably agree. This is probably a solid rating.
Yeah, and 44 minutes long for this match as well.
But yeah, let's get on. So overall, what would you give it? WrestleMania Saturday's rating? We're at 6.81. What do you think?
I think obviously it brings it a lot down because of that Jay versus Jimmy match. That is the only kind of outlier in this one, in my opinion. But I would give it definitely higher than a 6.1, at maybe closer to a 7.5.
Yeah, I probably have it around a 7. I wouldn't have too much higher because I do think there was some duds, like the Andrade Rey Mysterio match wasn't all that. The Jey Uso Jimmy Uso match, obviously, like you said, takes it down. And the Bianca Belair match apparently, wasn't as great to some people, but obviously I don't remember too much from it. So yeah, I'll probably keep it around a 7, and yeah. But moving on to the Sunday show, we started off with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, this was a good match. I mean, it was what people wanted. Obviously, knowing the information we know now, Seth was hurt, and it kind of shows during this match. In the tag team match, you didn't really see that he was hurt. It didn't show during the match, at least. However, in this one, it kind of did, and that does bring down my rating of the match a little bit, unfortunately. However, it might bring it up a little bit as well because he did work through it. So like I said, Seth Rollins, MVP of the weekend. We do get the Damian Priest cash-in after the match as well, which was pretty good. However, yeah, I think 7.5. I'd probably lower it a little. Wasn't that good, being that Seth was hurt. Obviously, he wasn't able to fully kind of work Drew McIntyre the way I know he would have if he wasn't hurt. But yeah, I think I'd probably move it down to like a 7.0 even.
I don't know, honestly. I think this match is still very good. It was one of my favorite matches on the weekend. It's probably a top 3, maybe 5 match. But I probably wouldn't have it at an 8. I probably would keep it around the 7.5. But yeah. Next up, we had the Pride taking on the Final Testament, and this one I pretty much always forget until I remember that Bubba Ray was a special guest referee and the table collapsed. And yeah, this was similar to the Andrade match on Saturday at a 5.29. Maybe knock it down a little bit more, but yeah.
Yeah, out of all the tag matches, this is probably the worst one in my opinion. Well, it was fun though. It had its fun moments and stuff. The ending kind of messed up for them with the table where it just kind of broke and they had to get a new one and all that. But it was pretty cool. The Bubba Ray Dudley moment where he like puts the glasses on and all that. It was a fun little moment for WrestleMania there. But yeah, I think I'd probably keep it at this or maybe bring it down to a 5 even.
And then next up, we had LA Knight and AJ. The story going into it was pretty fun. The home invasion arc was pretty cool. The attacking each other at conventions, at press interviews and stuff. Then the match was pretty solid. I didn't hate it. I don't think there was nothing crazy. But it was still nice to see AJ Styles on WrestleMania and LA Knight at that time. It was super over. And it was nice to see him on the card as well.
Yeah, the build was better than the match, in my opinion. But I think the rating kind of is accurate. I think I like exactly where it's at. 6.74 feels about right. Obviously, LA Knight, it was just a big moment for him to defeat LA Knight on a WrestleMania stage. So just good for him, obviously, to kind of get that huge moment after missing a lot of moments previous to this.
Yeah, but yeah, next up we had Logan Paul retain his United States champion against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. This match was pretty solid. But the rating, I probably would knock it down a little bit. I don't think it was that good. The ISHO Speed clip was pretty funny. It had a few viral clips from it that are memes now. But like I said, the match itself, I don't think was that good at a 7.78.
Yeah, I'd probably bump it all the way down to probably about a 7 even. Slightly above the LA Knight AJ Styles match.
Yeah, probably maybe a 7.25 around that range, but I could also see a 7 as well. Then next up in the co-main, we had Bayley take on Io Sky, where she won the women's title. This was a great match. At an 8.4, I'd probably maybe bump it up a little bit more, but not too much. But yeah, this is one of my favorite matches on the weekend, so yeah, it's going to get a very high rating for me.
Yeah, I love the build to this. The Damage Control split up, the Bayley moment where she reveals that she speaks Japanese and she started speaking Japanese to her, and the moment of all Damage Control kind of looking at her in shock, and then they go to attack her. She blocks them. She brings the bat out at one point to like fight all of them off on her own. I love the story of everyone turning against her because of everything that she did to them as part of the Damage Control. But yeah, it was an amazing build. I loved everything about the match, everything about the build. It kind of slowed the build down leading into Mania, like right before it. However, everything previous to that I absolutely love. So yeah, this match was amazing. I'd probably even raise it slightly from an 8.4.
Yeah, and then in the main event we had Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns, and this got a 9.22, so the highest rated match on the entire show or entire weekend. And yeah, I mean, this obviously is probably carried about the what's it called, the aftermatch, or not the aftermatch, but the soap opera, I guess, effect with all the entrances and stuff like that. But I think the match itself also wasn't that bad either. I think it was pretty solid. And yeah, 9.2 might be a little crazy. I'm probably knocking down to maybe a 9. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think, if you're taking account everything and not just the match, I think 9.2 is probably accurate. It was a huge moment having all these people come out. We seen John Cena, we seen The Undertaker. It was, we wanted Stone Cold. We didn't get that glass shatter moment. But, I think they made up for it very good, giving us The Undertaker, giving us John Cena, Seth Rollins coming out with the Shield music, the chair spot from Roman to Seth, which ultimately cost him the match. But then everything with The Rock, just amazing, obviously. So it was just a great match, great moments, great title defense, and awesome for Cody to have this moment to finally win that title after losing the previous year.
Yeah, imagine if Stone Cold was in this match, that 9.2 might be a 9.5 low key.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this show got a solid 9.07. So this did beat obviously Saturday's show. Do you agree with the rating?
I think I'd probably take it down slightly. I'd give it maybe like a 8.5, 8.7, maybe somewhere around that range. I think 9 is a little overrated. I think the Cody match pushes it that much more, obviously, because of how good it was. The Bayley-Io match was really good as well. But I think the rest of the matches outside of those two were just, didn't live up to those two matches.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, like I said, I'd probably knock it down a little bit, probably around at 8.75, around that area. But yeah, I do think that the Bayley and Io and then the Cody and Roman definitely are kind of the carries for this one. But I guess this makes sense because, like I said, it has 3 to 4 pretty good matches, and then some of the after effects with the CM Punk interfering, kind of costing Drew, and then everything that kind of happened after that also adds a lot as well. So yeah. So would you? I do guess it is safe to say that Sunday was the better night as well.
Yeah, for sure, it was the better night. Obviously, reviewing it 1 year later, we have the power of hindsight, seeing what all these people have done after WrestleMania. So yeah, add just a little bit of that extra insight to the matches, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, that is our WrestleMania 1 year later review. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.